Welcome to part 4 of this Football Manager 2019 experiment, where I switched all of the English leagues around. The English Premier League with the National League North and South, all of the leagues were mirrored. If you've missed the first 3 parts, go and check them out first. So in this part 4, I am going to have a look to see what has happened, what has changed in English football in the past 10 seasons since part 3. Apologies for the gap between part 3 and 4. I had to spend time actually holidaying those 10 seasons. And secondly, I've been concentrating on my Regen Rovers series. If you have no idea what that's all about, go over to my channel, watch episode 1, give it a go. I'm really proud of it and I really hope it's going to be a good long-term series on my channel over the next year. So like I said, I've holidayed 10 seasons to the year 2035. If you want me to holiday another 10 seasons, then leave a like. I'm going to say 200 likes on this video and I will holiday until the year 2045. So, what's happened? What does the Premier League look like? Let's start with the Premier League, a 4.5-star reputation league still. Of course, we saw the real-life Premier League teams get promoted all the way back to the top flight. Most of them have got, well, the big ones have got back, but you'll notice some interesting teams still in here. Dagenham and Redbridge, Dulwich, Southport, Nuneaton, Barnet, Stockport, Concord Rangers getting relegated this season. It's an interesting mix of teams, I must say there. But you can see it has been dominated by Man City for many years. They won it 2 years in a row, then Man United, then Man City for quite a few seasons before Liverpool and Man United won in the last couple of years. But it's not been particularly interesting in regards to the results, I suppose, of those top 3. But I love the fact that we still have some of these teams here. Dagenham and Redbridge finishing 8th. That is fantastic to see. 3.5-star reputation team. They've been yo-yoing between the Premiership and the Championship over the last few years. Dulwich, though, have been in the Premier League the entirety of this save, except for the first 2 seasons when they started in the Championship, got promoted in the second year. Since then, they've been in the Premier League. They haven't been relegated. The lowest they've actually finished is 14th. Last season and a few seasons ago. Shane Duffy is their manager. Of course, by this point, it's going to be pretty much 99% regens, I think, featuring for the team. Southport still in there. Oh my! Cristiano Ronaldo is the manager of Southport. That is fantastic. So who's he managed? So he finished as player for Juventus in 2024. Then he became manager of Crystal Palace, Chippenham, Mansfield, Spurs, Stockport and Southport. That is fantastic. I don't think he's won anything as a manager, but that is so random. Southport have been in the Premier League for quite a while. They started in the Championship on the save, been up and down a couple of times, but I love the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo is manager of Southport. Nuneaton still in the top flight. They spent most of their time in the top flight. They were relegated for a few seasons, but you can see coming back in a couple of years ago, and they've managed to retain their place in the Premier League this season. Barnet, they got promoted from League One at the start of this save. Were relegated 3 seasons ago, but have come back into the Premier League. I just love the fact some of these teams have managed to stay up there. Stockport, they've had a really successful time, haven't they? They've been in the Premier League ever since the 2nd season of this save. Concord Rangers unfortunately relegated this year. But, have they spent their entire... This is the first season they've been relegated. That is a shame. I mean, they've been really close to relegation for quite a few years in a row. They've actually been a bottom half of the table team. They finished 10th a couple times. Other than that, they finished bottom half every single time. It's quite remarkable that they've been able to survive up until this point, dicing with death for quite a few seasons. But they have finally been relegated bottom of the league. Man United, I assume they don't have Mourinho anymore. He was still there when we left. Tom Kearney, in fact, he was there for 17 years before retiring from management. That's amazing. There you can see all the competitions he won. But yeah, Tom Kearney is now in charge of the club. He's been in charge of various clubs since retiring from football. Man City, who do they have? He's still in charge. Pep Guardiola is still in charge. Pretty much 19 years on. Look at all the competitions he has won. That is incredible. How old is he now? He's only 64, I suppose. But that is quite amazing. I suppose it's quite an easy job, really. Arsenal have Marco Silva in charge. Who have they had then in recent years? They've had a lot of managers on this since Emery left in 2027. Liverpool don't have Klopp anymore. He resigned in 2026. Where is he's retired? He went on to manage... I don't think he actually managed after that, if I'm reading that correctly. Burnley up in 5th place is quite interesting. They've done quite well to get back to the top and finish... Wow, they finished in the top 4 a couple of times. Michael Turner currently the manager of Burnley. Spurs are down in 6th, so they're back into the top 6. Chelsea below them. Spurs have Florian Kainz in charge, an Austrian. They've had a lot of managers, including Tom Kearney. Pochettino left after 11 years, but since then, I mean, obviously there's a lot of caretaker managers in here, so if we hide them, it's not so bad looking. Chelsea have Craig Alcock in charge. Some really random managers. West Ham, my boys, have a Greek regen in charge. Everton, they're up there, of course. David Wagner in charge of Everton. Sunderland, Bjornsson, the Icelandic midfielder. They were relegated after a really successful time. They needed to win it that first season. They were in the top flight, really, or the second season before Man City got up there to really have any chance. Charlton also went up with Sunderland, remember, quite a few years, and then they failed to get promoted for a while. Let's head down the leagues then. In fact, I do want to have a look at the stadiums to see if things have changed. So Man City, Pep Guardiola Stadium, 81,000 people. It's bigger than Old Trafford. The London Stadium is the 3rd biggest in the Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Emirates, Stamford Bridge, Anfield still around. Stadium of Light still around. Goodison Park, Jimmy McIlroy Park for Burnley, Riverside Stadium. So there's a few new stadiums, but we've seen them. Saw them a while ago. Southport Stadium was built in 2025, 10 years old now. Smallest stadium is the Concord Stadium, as you can see there, on Canvey Island. The Championship then. Palace, West Brom and Boston promoted. Looking down this list of teams, we've got Swansea in there, but it's a real mix. Billericay up in the Championship. Watford up there. I think Watford have done quite well. They took a while to get promoted, I think. Yeah, in fact, they've only risen up the leagues in recent years. They were stuck in the National League until 2029, but they are back towards the top of the Championship now. Chippenham, York and Alfreton are relegated. Let's have a quick look at the stadiums in regards to size. So FC United still playing at Bolton Stadium. They literally haven't built one, have they? They've been playing there for years. They're just sharing the stadium of Bolton now, permanently, I think. League One, MK Dons, Lincoln and Preston promoted in most recent years. Blythe Spartans, they were in the top flight at one point, weren't they? They started in the top flight, eventually were relegated, and they've now been relegated to, League Two. They're creeping down the divisions, unfortunately, along with Darlington, Hartlepool and Crewe. You've got Huddersfield in here, Mill, Nottingham Forest, but you've got the likes of Telford, Curzon, Ashton. Wolves are in 5th place. They didn't manage to get promoted. There's a lot of new stadiums that have been built in England as well, because all these teams that had to build new stadiums when they're in the Premier League. If you spot anything interesting, remember to stick it in the comment section below. So League 2, Swindon, Sheffield United, Hull City and Eastbourne promoted. Well done to Eastbourne. I think they may have started in the top flight. They did. They were relegated in the second season. But then they've been up and down, haven't they, over the years? They're up to League One again, though. Some interesting stories here. There's a lot of case studies. We could have a look at a lot of teams to see what's happened to them in the last 20-odd years of English football. Spennymoor and Stevenage relegated out of English football. Are there any real-life Premier League teams in here? Aston Villa from the Championship in League 2 at the moment. But it's kind of a National League looking league, isn't it, this? Lots of real-life non-league teams in there. I'll have a quick look at the stadiums as well. So, the Aston Villa have built a new stadium, but it's smaller than Villa Park, isn't it? Built 2 years ago. I suppose it's because they've been stuck at this level. They just don't need as big a stadium as they used to have. That is amazing, actually. I mean, look, they were stuck in the National League North or South, one of those. Yeah, National League North. For so many years. They were only promoted to the National League like 3 or 4 years ago, and then they were promoted to the Football League last season, finished 8th this year in League 2. But that is incredible. They've got rid of Villa Park and replaced it with still a big stadium considering the level of football they're playing at. They were playing in non-league and they built a new 33,000-seater stadium. National League then, Brighton, a real-life Premier League team, finally promoted. Have they been promoted before? Have they always been in... That is, wow. They were promoted years ago to the National League. They almost got relegated again, but they've just failed to get promoted until this season. That is incredible. Have they built a new stadium? No, they've still got the Amex. I suppose it's relatively new, really. Leicester's still stuck at this level. And they've been stuck in the National League for a long time. They were stuck in the National League North for a long time. Nigel Reo-Coker, the manager of Leicester City. Leamington Spa went into administration, but they just about survived there, as you can see. We've got Portsmouth here, Blackburn, Newcastle, still stuck at this level. Oh, it's fascinating. Newcastle United, I mean, what's their stadium like? Whoa, they've definitely shrunk their stadium. 46,000. It's bigger than Aston Villa Stadium, but the Jackie Milburn Arena, built in 4 years ago, it's still. I mean, that is huge for non-league. Let's be honest, that is impressive. But are they filling it? If they are, that was incredible. This is the first home game of the season. They got 38,000 people, almost 40,000 people for a non-league game. That is incredible. I mean, it is obviously a big city, Newcastle, but still, they're playing in the non-league. Leeds United as well, stuck at this level. They're still playing at Ellen Road. What are they getting in non-league? Oh, that's a friendly. Wrong one. This one. 12,000 people at Ellen Road. That is not good, is it? They've really been massively impacted upon. They've not managed to get out of non-league football on this save either. Intriguing stuff. Let's go down to the National League North then, which Coventry managed to win. Carlisle also promoted. We've got Blackpool stuck at this level. Scunthorpe. There's no really big teams here though, are there? And the National League South won by Salisbury City, promoted to the National League. Crawley also promoted. Chelmsford City back in the National League South. There's a lot of teams that have just filtered their way back down to this level, haven't they? FA Cup won by Dulwich, beating Chester in the final. Let's look at the most recent winners of the FA Cup. So it has been real-life Premier League teams dominating it until this season, where we've got a bit more of an interesting final. Dulwich versus Chester, that's good. So they qualify for Europe. FA Cup-wise, we saw Liverpool beat Burnley on penalties. Once again, real-life Premier League teams dominating since that Barnet win in 2024. Kidderminster have finished runners-up, as have Billericay and MK Dons. And Charlton as well in 2032. Champions League then. So obviously England was massively impacted upon for many years, but Man City in the most recent season have won the Champions League final against Valencia. I think that's the first English winner for a long time. Let's just scroll down. Yeah, since Chelsea in 2012. So despite Pep Guardiola's dominance in England for quite a few seasons, he failed to win the Champions League until this season. Europa League, we have seen some English winners. We've seen Arsenal win it a couple of times. Chelsea. We saw Liverpool win it. Arsenal again. Spurs have been runners-up. Arsenal have been runners-up a couple of times as well. I mean, the Premier League's way up there again now. 4.5 star reputation. Same as Serie A and La Liga. Bundesliga, Liga 1, 4 stars. Michael Brown is the manager of England at the moment. Let's have a look at the national team then. What sort of teams are in here? So we do have, West Brom, Dulwich, Alfreton's in here, Dagenham and Redbridge, Charlton. It's a real mix, but it is predominantly English again now. When we first last looked in 2025, there was a lot of European-based teams in the England team. Jadon Sancho, still playing for England, by the way, at the age of 35. 155 caps. These are the top clubs then in England. Looking at the European Championships. Oh, Scotland runners up to Belgium. No relevance to this experiment whatsoever, but that's an interesting final. World Cup. Argentina won it twice in a row, after Croatia won it in 2022, and then Portugal managed to win it in 2034, with England finishing third. So they've certainly produced players good enough to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. These are the top clubs in Europe then. So we do have Man City up there. Do we have any unexpected teams in here? Chelsea. I want to see Dulwich in there, but they're probably quite far down the list. There's Burnley and Spurs. Dulwich and Stockport, there we go. They're on the list. In the top 100, I suppose. So I think we'll leave it there, guys, for this part 4. Thank you for watching. Just a quick look at the last 10 seasons of English football. There's not really any massive surprises, but it's good to see the likes of Dulwich, Hamlet and Stockport, Southport up there. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's managing in the Premier League now. Messi has retired, so he didn't become a manager or anything like that. If you do want me to holiday another 10 years, see how Ronaldo does in English football as a manager, see if Dulwich can keep a pace with the other teams in the Premier League, then leave a like, 200 likes, and I'll do a part 5 on our holiday 10 more seasons into the future. But thank you for watching this Football Manager experiment. If you have any other ideas for experiments that I can do over the next weeks, months, years, etc., stick them in the comment section below. And I've got basically a list of ideas, and when I've got the time, I make one. But until next time, enjoy Football Manager, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.